Welcome back to Pickleball for All. This is Jeff Bruni, alongside my partner here, Cooper Wesley.
What's up?
Hey, man, our expert in everything pickleball.
Sure.
Well, and you're going to be an expert today, apparently, in pickleballs. We're going to have to be careful with the way we phrase everything. But pickleball, like the type of ball, the brand of ball, it matters in the game, right?
I believe so. Yeah, absolutely.
And everybody has their favorite for different reasons.
The one ball out there that rules them all is the Franklin X40. It's the first standard ball in the pickleball game, and there's a lot of people that want to deviate from it and have their own new favorite, whether that's a faster ball like the Dura 40 that came out several years ago, and that was the big competing move to get away from the Franklins because it was thinner, it was faster, it had a little bit of a higher bounce, and the overall gameplay was faster, and so people just were really drawn towards it because more competitive players liked a faster game, whereas your regular reg players didn't mind, the game being slower, slightly slower the way the Franklin X40 is, but just depends on who you are, and your style preference is really tailors. They have balls for all different styles, and I think one of the newest ones right now is the Lifetime, which that's the big new ball on the market. It's supposed to be the most consistent play. I think they've got slow-mo reels of it where all balls deform when they hit against the surface, right?
They compress.
Yeah, they compress, and your Franklin tends to stay compressed longer off of their paddle face or off the ground, whereas this Lifetime supposedly, off these videos, the split second it leaves the surface, it's already forming back to the shape of a pickleball, which, tells you it's more consistent playing. Ball is going to stay true to shape longer, and it's also extremely durable because it's a softer plastic.
So at what level of player
does that matter?
Can they tell a difference?
I think anybody can tell.
Yeah.
Can tell a difference. I think the first thing you can do is, like when I first started, I was playing on basketball courts here at SEMO. And
I was playing with you.
Yeah. And we, there's like 3,000 different lines of tape from all the different sports that were ever played on it, and you have to.
That was
everybody's
in.
like,
no,
yeah,
that was out.
The
what
light
line are we
green
playing?
One is the lines we go by, and there's 8 different colored lines. But we would always play with indoor balls because you're playing on basketball court, right? And you can take an outdoor ball because once we got a little better, you realize, and then we're playing outside games. We'd come in, it's like, why are we not playing with an outdoor ball on here?
Yeah, so explain the difference between the outdoor and indoor ball. So a lot of people don't even know that that's a thing.
No, a lot of people will pick up an indoor ball and play with it, like on our outdoor courts at our facility, thinking that they're playing with the right ball, but they're completely different, drastically different. Your indoor surface ball, which is your basketball courts, that rubberized basketball surface. I don't know what that is, but you're looking at it's less holes. And it's a softer plastic. So you're 26 to 30 holes in the ball. The holes are bigger, so the ball is more flexible because there's more space in between the plastic.
Yeah.
And the plastic itself is it's lighter and it's softer. It's easier to bend.
You can definitely tell the difference when you're holding them side by side. Yeah. And so the indoor ball has more holes or less holes?
Less holes, but the holes are bigger.
Okay.
Yeah, so 26 to 30 holes. The holes are bigger in diameter. This makes the ball more pliable. It bounces a little higher. The game's a little slower.
Yeah.
It's not it's not bouncing off of surfaces as fast because it is more pliable.
Yeah. It kind of, does it slide a little bit?
Slides.
Like on a basketball court.
On a basketball court, if you play with an outdoor ball, it's going to slide
That's
more.
correct. Yeah.
If you're playing with the correct ball on an indoor court, it's going to be.
It bites a little bit.
It's going to bite, and because it's more flexible, but because of that, the game's a lot slower. And you're not getting as high of you're getting a higher bounce, but the bounce is slower. So the game itself is slower, and there's not as much of the spin involved because of the way that plastic is. There's not as much friction or grit. They generally stay the same thickness over time just because that plastic doesn't really shave or wear out because it's not a harder plastic. I don't know I think most of the new ones are HDPE, which is just a more dense plastic that, like your Franklins, over time the plastic will shave off from the abrasiveness of the concrete, and you end up with a thinner ball, and that's when they crack.
Yeah. Yeah, and those indoor balls, they're meant for like traditional wooden basketball courts. They're meant for the basketball courts that are like tile,
right?
That kind of stuff.
Correct.
Now, interesting, our facility, the Pickleball Factory, it's an indoor facility,
right?
But we use outdoor balls. Can you explain that a little bit?
Well, so our courts are outdoor surface,
right?
Right. We have it's grit paint. It's for traction, for wearing outdoor shoes. All your equipment you're going to be using in our facility is outdoor equipment. You're just under a roof, and that's going to increase the quality of your play for sure. I think playing outdoor surface is going to be paramount to indoor at any point, just because you have the friction applied to the ball. You're getting to use a higher quality ball, and the game itself is just played when it's at that faster pace that is on outdoor courts. It's how the game should be played, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Versus an indoor game is a lot slower paced and feels a lot more leisure, which is fine.
Even on our courts, is it beneficial for a beginner to use an indoor ball? Are they a little bit more forgiving?
I would say as a beginner, it'd be like anything else. You should start with the equipment that's going to be used widely. If you're competing players all the way to your serious rec players and everything, if they're using, on average, they're using a certain ball or a certain type of paddle or a generation of paddles, I would start with that stuff first. It's going to give you, that much of a leg up as you progress, if you want to progress, than using something that's, in my opinion, drastically different from what you're going to use if you do get to that level.
Are there specific brands that beginners should go after, or should everybody use that Franklin X40 or something like that? The Vulcan, whatever.
I think that the X40 has stood the test of time through all the new innovations and quote unquote new techs, and whether it be for durability or ball speed or anything else. The Franklin has made it all the way through. Like, there was a period after it first blew up after COVID, and the Franklin was the most widely used outdoor ball. And then we had this Dura that came out, and all the competitive players were like, this is the new ball. We're getting rid of that Franklin. No more running through 100 balls that crack, consistently.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, this thing lasts forever. And anybody that wasn't like brain fogged from the hype could take that ball, and after like one game, the ball would be shaped like a turtle shell. It'd just be wonky and deformed. There'd be flat sides on it, and you're like, okay, was this really what's going to replace the X40? Because this ball sucks. And we were like, it was so funny going through that period, because like that was like right when I first started playing, and I had played with the X40 for like a little over a year. And then everybody was like, no, this is the ball we're playing with. And then you'd see it, and all the tournaments were running Dura 40s. And you're like, God, I got to play in this tournament with this ball. This ball's terrible.
Because typically, for people that don't play in a lot of tournaments or haven't played them yet, it's a standardized ball. Everybody's got to use the same brand of ball. Yeah.
Tournament wide or whatever. But it's just whatever is more popular, or whatever the facility is sponsored by, that generally is what ball gets used. And you see that depending on what tournament you're at, or depending on what ball was popular at the time. Like right now, the Vulcan V2 that's the big ball you play with in minor league events,
right?
4-team events, and that's kind of standard across the board. I don't think you can play an MILP event and not use the Vulcan V2 ball, and it's more similar in quality to the Dura. I think it lasts a lot longer and holds its shape better. But
and people, especially beginners, don't understand balls don't last forever.
No,
like they crack.
It's a plastic ball that you're hitting with a hard surface. It's not going to last.
Yeah, exactly.
But as far as like, and that's where the con is on the X40. Like, your Franklin ball, it's just not going to last a long time. But they're cheap, they're easy to get, and they're consistent. They're consistently have consistent wear across the board. They're going to crack whenever it gets time for them to crack. They're not going to have like, unless you're one of those guys that just hits the ball hard every single time, you're rarely going to see a Franklin X40 crack, before 4 or 5 games, if I had to guess. whereas some of the other ones, like the Lifetime ball, is supposed to last.
So let's go back to that. 4 or 5 games, not 4 or 5 days of play of multiple games.
No,
4 to 5 games.
Yeah, you're taking some of the guys that I play with that, we're pretty hard on equipment. So
yeah.
you take a group of guys like that and play, 5 or 6 games, couple hours of ball, and you could go through a new pickleball. Play with that one ball the whole time. That ball is probably done.
Sure.
By about 2 hours of play, if I had to guess, and that's not,
Those cracked balls, they become Christmas ornaments.
Yeah, we put them on our Christmas tree.
Best use, for sure.
But yeah, I just that's one big thing that's been going around is everybody is looking for that new piece of technology. They want something that lasts a long time. I used to do competition shooting, and you could always find something that's more, that shoots straighter, that lasts a lot longer, but you're using finer and more durable materials that cost more. So in the long run, when you end up with we go back to pickleball, a ball that is very high quality, it lasts a long time. Well, that plastic is probably a little harder to come by, and the process to make the ball is probably a little more strenuous. And then you end up with a ball that's, for a 3-pack is $30-something, whereas you can get 3 Franklins for $12 most
Correct.
Places.
Yeah.
So
same thing with ammo. Me being a golfer.
Yeah.
Not all golf balls are created equal, right?
Right.
And there's more expensive ones, and you can tell the more expensive ones and their gameplay. Like you can definitely tell that some, ball that's as hard as a rock that I can't stand.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Well, I'm sure there's probably golf balls that are really, really nice, but they're really expensive, and you don't want to buy a 100 ball bucket of them, do you?
Oh, absolutely not.
Right.
I mean, Pro V1s, Titleist Pro V1s, those are $60 for 12 of them.
Yeah.
So,
and that's where you get I think the Lifetime is getting closer to becoming something a lot more durable that's still relatively affordable, but you're still looking at something that's a good few dollars more than your standard ball. I think this X40 has just done a good job of staying consistent over time and not changing.
It's very
much.
consistent.
Yep.
Yeah, very consistent.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
well, that's everything balls, right? Yeah, I mean, we could say a lot of stuff about this, inappropriately, but we're not going to do that because we're professionals. But draw your own conclusions on all the jokes that you would say about this podcast. But it's we sell a bunch of balls at the Pickleball Factory, that's for sure.
Yeah, we do.
And we sell mostly the X40s.
Yeah, right? I think that's what we're going to continue to sell, X40s.
Yeah. What about color?
The yellow, the bright yellow.
The standard color. Is there any value in different colors for when you're playing outdoors?
Not really. I think really, if you want to get nitpicky about it, you go down to just the color yellow and what has been used in all these different products. There's people that complain about the yellow that the Lifetime is. The Lifetime ball is like a more faded shock yellow, and people have a harder time seeing that ball than the bright yellow that is on the X40 or other similar balls.
One time I played with somebody that had red. They were red.
Yeah.
And I could not see them at all.
Yeah.
I couldn't see them at all.
Well, an X40 comes in pink. They come in purple, bright neon red color.
Yeah.
And your eyes just pick up bright yellow really easily, and it contrasts to most things you're going to have around the court. And even your red, there's nothing in our facility that's red, but I've tried to play with the neon red ones in our facility before, and it's for some reason
the depth perception
it's
is
hard
off.
to judge it. Yep.
It's weird.
So
I don't know if it's because your brain is so used to picking up that pickleball
might be
color that it just looks different.
Yeah, the ball started red and was never yellow.
Yeah.
It may just say the same thing about yellow ones.
Frankly, it's very similar in golf. In the fall, a lot of guys will switch to yellow instead of the white, or they'll switch to a red.
Right.
I can't see the red at all.
Yeah.
When it takes off the club face, so maybe it's just my brain in red.
Probably.
But it could be. But, yeah, that's everything pickleballs. And they do matter, and that's definitely for sure. Equipment matters in this game.
Absolutely.
And that's the one thing that's a constant is the ball, right?
Yep.
Everybody's hitting that. So we appreciate you guys tuning in for the podcast. One of the reasons that when we were deciding about this podcast, the timing of it, how long a podcast would actually last. We wanted it to be 10 to 15 minutes long because we wanted drive time. Like some of those podcasts that are out there, it'd take me 2 weeks to listen to one episode.
Yeah.
And, we were talking about putting this together. We were adamant, let's make it, short and sweet. Literally today, one of our podcasts, another podcast dropped, and I hit play when I left my house, and right when I pulled into work, it was over. And I'm like, that was perfect timing. So if you wondered, that's why this podcast is short and sweet. We want to be high content in a short amount of time. So
spend more time playing pickleball.
Yeah, more time playing pickleball. Exactly right. So if you've got any topics that you would like us to address, just reach out to info@picklecape.com. Make sure you're following us on all the social channels because we're really active on that. And, we appreciate you listening because here Pickleball is for all. We'll see you next time.